Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Mr. Rocks. Today we're going to start our tower defense game. So lesson 0, we talked about how to set up the library. I'm going to go through those steps again, and what we're going to be doing is setting up a generic tower defense game. As we go through the process, we will do all of the things required to do kind of a generic game, and we'll talk about how to make it different and depending on what kind of game you want to make. But the tower defense game will have all the functionality of a basic game created in Java. Now this is going to use a set of classes called JGame, written by a high school student named William Shargan. William created this set of classes to act as kind of a bridge between the Java AWT and the using the graphics elements of AWT in a game program. But rather than have high school students spend perhaps months learning the AWT format, this is a bridge that's going to make the entire process much simpler. So now to the program. We're going to go ahead and start by adding JGame. In the last tutorial I showed you where to download that, so I'm going to say File, New, I'm going to add a project, and this is going to be a general project, and I'm going to give it the name underscore capital J, capital G, JGame, and I'll say Finish, and this is going to appear in my Package Explorer, and once it's there I need to add my download to that. So I'll go into my download folder, I'll find this which I downloaded from William Shargan's GitHub site, and I will roll this over here, drop it into JGame, and click OK to copy files into that place. At this point I'm ready to add or create some paths to this. So I'm going to go into my window, I'm going to choose Preferences, and I will choose type in User Libraries, or simply when it comes up select it here and say New, and if I type in again JGame as I did before and click OK, JGame appears right here. Now I'm going to make some changes. I'll say Edit, and the first thing I want to do is, oops, I take that back. The first thing I'm going to do is add jars, and I'll choose JGame and say OK, and now I have this list of resources. First I'm going to take source attachment. Now I'll choose Edit, and the workplace location, I hit Browse, and it shows up in this source location selector. Click OK, and notice the path shows up in the window. Click OK again. Now I'm going to choose JavDoc location, and again I'm going to say Edit. This time I'm going to come down here where it says JavDoc in Archive, Workspace File, click Browse, and again it will show up right here. Clicking OK. Now that's good. I need to add path within archive DOC, which is short for document, and I'll click OK. Now at this point I'm ready to get to work. I'm going to create a new project, so now I'll say File, New, and go to Java Project this time. I'm going to give it the name Tower Game, and I will add my W in here. And in addition to Tower Game, I need to make sure that I have, this is just the name of the program, but I'm going to say Next instead of Finish, and I want to add the library. So here where it says add a library, I've got libraries here, add a library, I need to go to User Library, Next, click on JGame, and say Finish. At this point, with both of these in the window, I can say Finish, and I'll notice that my Java game is going to have both libraries in place. The next thing I want to do is I want to come in here, and I'm going to create a couple of folders. The first folder that I want to create, I'll go to File, New, and I'll choose a folder. I'm going to put my source code inside a folder. I'm just going to call it Game Source, SRC, and say, spell that with an E, Game Source, and say Finish. The other thing I'm going to do is choose the same source folder here. I'll say File, New, and I'm going to put my resources in a folder, and I'll call this, I'll just call it RSC for short. So that'll be my resources. All my images, sounds, and so forth will go inside that folder. Now, choosing the game source, I'm going to create a new class. Okay, so every JGame, or every game program, actually any Java program, is going to need a main method. It's always going to start with the main method. And so I'm going to create my first class. I'll say Java class is going to be in this package. It's going to be called the same name as my game. I'm just calling this Tower Game. And I hit enter by mistake, so let's delete that and try that again. And I'll say file new class, and I have Tower Game. And I need to make sure that the superclass of this is going to be JGame. It's going to be game. And so JGame, game is part of JGame. So that's going to be my superclass. And I need to make sure I click this for main, and I am good to go. So at this point, I have my main method in my constructor. Function is going to be right below that. I hit enter. In Eclipse, I'm going to hit Control Space and choose the default constructor for the Tower Game. And so now I have my two methods, my main method, and I have my Tower Game method, and this is where my program will start each time I run it. For the sake of clarity, I think I will go over here and right click on this and say show line numbers, so we can refer to line numbers. And I'm also going to change the preferences a little bit, so this is going to be easier for the viewers to read. Go to Appearance, and let's change this to, let's say, Java. We'll go to Java Editor, edit that, and let's make this 14. Let's make it 16 size font, see how that works. Click OK, and now we are ready to start writing our game. So that's the basics for getting this set up. I'm going to talk more about the different components, but that's step one. Okay, the second step is going to be to add some code inside this package, or this class for this. So this is going to be my main Tower Game class. It has the main method. It also has the constructor for Tower Game. And so there's a couple of things I need to put in here. I need to add one more component down here, and that's going to be a public enum. And so an enumeration is going to give me numbers associated with each of my different views in this case. And so I'll set this up as calling this views, and inside my curly brackets I'm going to call each view according to name. Because these are going to be constants, the convention is to use caps, and so I'm going to call, for instance, I'll do one that's main menu. I'm not going to create that right away, but there's main menu, and I'll do level 1. And I will do, let's just say, instructions for right now. I can add more to this later on, but that's going to start that. Now in here, Tower Game, I need to, every Tower Game has to have a root container, and it is going to be of type groot container, and specifically I'm going to call it root. So groot container, root equals new groot container, and I can give it a color blue. Now notice this is all underlined in red, but I also need to set the root container, and I will set the root container to root. So I'm creating a new an instance of this, and then I'm setting the root container to root. At this point, the next thing I need to do is say, let's say TG level 1 is going to be the view, and of course I still have my caps on. So let's try that again. TG level 1. Now that is going to be a class. I haven't written the class yet, but I needed to go do create an instance of this. So I'll say TG L1, and this is going to be equal to a new TG level 1, and use parentheses because I'm instantiating this. Okay, now that that's created, I can say root add view. Now I've created my root up above, so if I say root, I can add a root to my view. So I just use add view, and notice that shows up in this little window. So I can say add view, boom, it's right there. And I'm going to do the view name, and the view name that I'm going to add is level 1. So I'll just put the level 1 right here, and I'm going to add it to this guy, which is the level 1 view. Okay, so that's good to go. Now the red underlines are because, or the red X's over here, because I have not got my import set up. So I'm going to say Control-Shift-O, and that added the AWT color. I guess that was just from this one piece right here. But now all of these things should be set to go. And so that's it for tonight. Bye-bye.